Cody, welcome along. What happened to your liver?
That's a great question. Many things. At this point, you're seeing me out 8.25 years past liver failure. Okay. Now, if you don't recognize my face, no, I'm not Polly Shore. Even yesterday, someone's like, "You look familiar." Yep, I'm not who you think I am. With that said, I was a celebrity DJ for about 16 years. Aside from that, I was raised in traumas that are unspeakable in many cases, and so that led to my entire adult experience drinking every single day. Now, for most of my life, I didn't drink more than what typical people do. I drank, of course, above what the CDC would call casual, but I was consuming enough alcohol to, impact my life on a day to day. Eventually, 16 years of doing that, 14 years of doing that, I developed an addiction. That addiction was to 2 bottles or more a day, which is about 30 shots, 30 ounces, I believe. That was on the low end. Some days I could do 45, even 50 drinks a day. My body became physically dependent on it. I didn't have a choice. I was a high functioning alcoholic. For just to combat any misconceptions, a high functioning alcoholic is not somebody that drinks a lot of alcohol all the time and then gets their things done. High functioning means I cease to function without my medicine. I must have it in my body to stop the shakes, to stop the thoughts, to stop the fog. Now, alcohol is a carcinogen, causes 7 different types of cancer and destroys 3.5 million lives every single year. I am not built different. But remember, I was the chosen one. I was the one that can handle it. Look how good I am at drinking alcohol. Look at good I am at hurting myself. Look how hard I can struggle. I've survived everything else that's ever happened in my life, and including everything I'm actively doing to myself. That's nothing one more drink can't fix. That's okay. I'll take a sip and I'll cry on my own. I'll watch the movie because I'm too numb to feel my own feelings and force myself to cry in silence. It's okay. I'll put myself in bed for 14 hours a day and drink 1, 2 shots every hour to keep the shakes away, then go to work and have 20 more drinks. Come back home and have another, 4, 5, 6 just to go to bed. This was years and years and years and years of habitual torture and disrespect to my body. So with that, I developed, and keep in mind, I didn't know this until I read the reports like almost a year later. That stress, it opened up veins in my throat and my stomach filled with blood. I ended up vomiting that blood, and that's how I ended up in the hospital. That's called esophageal varices, where these veins just kind of get so raw, they open up and it becomes a medical emergency. Thankfully, I was only a few minutes down the street. The stress of fixing that caused my heart to stop. That's how I ended up in ICU. And then I was brought back to be told that, Cody, your liver is failing. Like, you're dying. If you make it throughout the week, it it's a miracle. Like, people in your position with your numbers that have caused this much damage and are declining this fast don't make it. And if you do, you're going to have to become someone completely different, because if you drink, you die. So, not understanding the severity of my circumstances, not being able to communicate on my own behalf, and having to give what's called power of attorney away, meaning the person that was taking care of me could now speak on my behalf. We've set it up. Hey, we're going to do what we can to keep you alive. But if you're going to drink, just talk to somebody and go to the bar. Just get it over with. So they put me in 4 different hospitals. It was 11 days of absolute torture. And it was primarily torture because I could feel everything. My liver was already shot. I already had hepatitis, right? I already had ascites, which means my entire body was filling with fluids. It looked like I had a beach ball in my stomach. I was bright yellow with the bilirubin levels of 30.6, which is usually twice as high as most people in similar conditions. My heart had already stopped, which only 11% of people survive, even without alcohol or other substances. And so, accepting that reality and going through all that torture, begging for death, they couldn't numb me up either, because it would be too much stress on my liver. So I had to experience my body dying while attempting to give me another shot at at life. It was by far the most strenuous, painful experience I could ever possibly imagine. The details are way more gruesome than what I'm sharing here, but I'll say this. I ended up with stage 4 cirrhosis, which is permanent damage, permanent struggles to the liver. And if I were to push it any further, it would have been end stage, which means there's no recovery whatsoever. My liver is 100% shot. You need a new liver now. And I was right there. And so once the doctors stopped me from dying, they said, Kohdi, we've stopped you from dying, but it's now you have to save your own life. And so not understanding what that meant, I just realized that I can't be who I am. I can't operate in life when my legs don't work. I'm not going to have a life worth living if I keep pitying myself, if I keep living this truth I've created for myself. So I had to realize that in order for me to even have an opportunity at enjoying this thing that we call life, I have to physically heal. I have to do the work. I don't have a choice. Now, I already had 2 ankle bracelets. I was a felon at that time. I already lost everything: house, car, job, money, friends. Everything you could possibly imagine is working against me. So now I have to actively develop a new diet. I have to force myself to eat. I have to force myself to think. I have to force myself to move. I could stay a potato on the couch, but I'm never going to be the warrior that survived all of the pain and all of the suffering if I don't use that pain to get stronger. So I forced myself off the couch. One more step, one more bite, one more video, one more page, daily, every day, especially and specifically because I didn't want to do it, specifically because it was difficult. And I developed the understanding that, and this is for everybody, if you could survive all that pain, you could survive all of that trauma, you can survive everything that you didn't ask for, didn't want, wasn't actually for you, everything that was supposed to take you out. What makes you think you're not going to survive evolution? You evolved into someone that can handle everything that brought you to where you are, but you're not going to give yourself permission to evolve into someone that doesn't have to deal with that anymore? Interesting. So once I understood that I already did the work, I already survived what most people wouldn't, I don't have to do more work. I just have to transmute my energy. If I can be addicted to hurting myself and destroying my brain, body, energy, and future, what makes me think that I can't just take that same focus and same energy and shift it towards healing and growing and practicing and evolving? If I do this, I die. If I do this, I live. I don't want to live. I want to feel alive, to where living isn't something I'm doing. Alive is something that I've embodied, something that I am. It's something that I can't not do. And in turn, what had happened is growing my brain in these ways, challenging my body, pushing it on purpose, developing a state of discipline and understanding that, Kohdi, you're not doing this because you have to. You're doing this because it's who you are. You're showing up to the gym at 5 a.m. and you're going to go back at 5 p.m. You're doing doubles today because that's who you are, not what you need. It's what you want. It's what you're ready for. And then I got into meditation after years of daily. And then through meditation, I was able to connect to the cells in my body. I was able to develop a full, open, and honest conversation with every single muscle, every single organ. The quantum state, each one of my energy centers now has its own form of communication. And more importantly, I understand that they're communicating without my permission. I'm not even invited to that conversation until I take action. And then in doing so, my liver, my body in general, has healed to such a degree because I've created a state of safety in my body. And the field has given me permission and it created the opportunity to help me heal, that doctors could barely even tell that I've ever had a single sip of alcohol or that I've taken all the drugs that I did when I was a kid. There is no real physical signs that I am who those doctors expect me to be. I'm what some people call an anomaly, but I'm not special. I just focus forward. I embrace the possibility. I embrace the quantum. I embrace the science, the biology. I embrace the truth that I am energy in human form. And my whole purpose on earth is to have a human existence. But that doesn't mean I can't tap into the ethereal realms. That doesn't mean I can't capture pieces of the ether and embody it for the sake of my own growth. Now, through all that, I feel a conscious responsibility to share this with every single person I meet. I don't have a message. I am the message. You are the message. You don't have purpose. You are the purpose. And when we allow that to be true through practice and repetition, life isn't something that you do anymore. Life is something that you are.
Things are always going on. Things are always going up, going down, going left, and going right. And that's the way the world rolls, isn't it? Things that go up meant to come down. Things that go down always come back up again. Would you agree?
At 100%. The only thing constant is change. And once we embrace the change, we don't have to worry about which direction things are going as long as we feel like we're moving forward.
Indeed. Well, this is about the importance of, how do you become addicted to your growth? How do you become addicted to your wealth? How do you become addicted to your improvement, to your betterness? We've done the retreats. You made it to the retreat in Italy. Sadly, you didn't make it to the retreat in Greece. But good news is you're coming to the retreat in Sardinia next year.
I'm so excited. Evolve was absolutely phenomenal, man. So Greece, it's just going to be a whole nother level. I'm so excited to meet everybody.
Indeed, indeed. Now, just for clarity, so Sardinia, it's like me going to the US. I don't know where Denver is, but Sardinia is in Italy. We done Greece already, so Sardinia is Italy. So we're going to a different place this year. I see on your social pages, one of the pages I accessed today, it had something like a couple of million followers. Why are people listening to you? What's the message?
The message is the cure to all addiction is happiness. Is happiness is a skill, is a better way of saying it. So many people that I've worked with over the years have been on this incessant chase for something that they already possess. So many people follow and embody what I say because we speak from truth, from universal law. We're not speaking from concept. We're not speaking from basic understandings. We're speaking from a place of evolution and growth. And more importantly, becoming the message and embracing our purpose as individuals as it relates to the human race or the collective consciousness. So for me, when I'm working with anybody that is struggling to understand themselves, struggling to understand their behaviors, or more importantly, has designed a reality based on their circumstances, it's so important that we embrace the truth that we are not our circumstances. We are not what happened to us. We are not a set of actions. We are not our thoughts. We're not our emotions. We're not our feelings. We are allowed. Allowed to what? Allowed to be happy. And if we give ourselves even basic permission, if we do what we're unfamiliar with from a place of safety, which is the root of all addiction, we start to realize that we deserve to be happy. We deserve the good things in life, regardless of what we believe happened to us and what we've done in response to that. So my message is to give people a safer space to experience life. And if I was to wrap it all up, a majority of the amazing human beings that have struggled in the most intricate ways simply don't feel safe enough to be alive in their own body. So when I show up as someone who's been dead, heart stopped, liver failed, all the things, and you look at this guy and go, what do you mean he's been dead before? Yeah, I am kind of the embodiment of transformation. And from a very humble and respectful place, I show people what happiness looks like. And in turn, that gives them permission to kind of find their own way and feel safe in doing so.
You know, Pete, you said I come from a place of truth. So, that would beg the question, Cody. I genuinely believe that if you do for certain. But why do so many people listen to the lie? And
It's
who is the
easy.
greatest liar?
They are. It's so interesting. The lie is so simple. It's as simple as this, Ray. You're broken. That's it. And we talked about this. We have three different truths. We have our personal truth, what we choose to attempt to make real. We have our political truth or our social truth, which is what society is saying, what our friends and family, co-workers, social media is saying. And then there's the objective truth, which is without your thoughts, feelings, emotions, perspectives, experiences, what is the truth? And so many influences and lack of better understanding land on these three truths lining up. One of the truths that I was given is, Cody, you're an alcoholic. You'll always be an alcoholic. You have a disease. You are forever broken. Nothing you do, nothing you don't do will never change the fact that you're an alcoholic. That's not true. That's not based in science. But if I don't know any better, I'm just going to accept that. And that is going to become a personal truth without better understanding, or even we're going to see a nudge towards curiosity. I'm just going to go, Ray says I'm an alcoholic, therefore I am. And then my brain is going to accept that information because why would I lie to it? Why would I give it information that's outside its best interest? And then what happens is my brain starts to write the neurological structures and creates the networks that define the identity, which is really just a feeling passed on from someone else. Someone else said I was broken. So now I believe it. That's not only my personal truth, it's what society thinks and what so many other people in so many other areas have chosen to believe and project. So that's two truths that now make sense. But the contradiction comes from objectively, that's not true. Scientifically, biologically, that is not true. Where from an intuitive aspect, I now have a confrontation with my own identity. I'm attempting to embody something that isn't objectively true. And it's so easy to just give in to the lie and go, yeah, I'm forever broken. I'll always be an addict. I'll always be that label. I'll always be whatever you say. And any concept, any phrase, any reality that's attached to that label or attached to that lie is also me, even if it contradicts who I know I actually am beneath the pain and the struggle.
I I think the greatest way that people can really involve themselves in their own truth to escape their own lie is to know that there's a truth that lies within all of us. And our grandmother might have said to us, mine did, listen to your heart, Ray. What's in your
Mm.
heart, Ray? And it's kind of a narrative that's gone on through our culture where I grew up in, in Western Europe and Ireland. So we always had this thing, listen to your heart, listen to your heart, listen to your heart. I can even see my grandmother saying it to me right now, listen to your heart, son. So, what is the language of the heart? And how does the heart know the truth? Why should I
Mm.
listen to my heart? How do I know that the truth is even living in there? How do I know that's not a whole bunch of lies? And like, doesn't science really back it all up today? Doesn't science combine, religion, quantum physics, spirituality, God? It brings it like all into the same thing. Now, religion, of course, is, and not being anti-religious in any way whatsoever, but religious,
Mm.
of course, is man's interpretation of spirituality. And I think man can get very corrupted because we can never really touch into the true essence of spirituality because we're human. We're meant to be humanly removed from the overall essence of how all creation was created. And if we weren't removed from it, well, we'd wake up every morning and we'd see God. Well, we don't because we're still kind of in the mystery. So science now allows us to know that our heart has a magnetic field. It's called an electromagnetic field. And it beams, it radiates, it gives off what's called signals. and it's a bidirectional feedback system. So we know through science that the heart radiates a field of energy. It can be measured quite a distance from the body. Literally, we can see that field of energy from the heart. And we know that the body has an electromagnetic field. We know that at all times of creation, there is a field of energy called a unified field, which gives rise to the quantum field, potential coming from the field of existence. And all these fields are interconnected. So when my grandmother said to me, Ray, listen to your heart, was she actually a quantum physicist? Like, how does she know that truth? That I need to listen to my heart. So my heart then listens to that field of energy where my electromagnetic field is outside my body. And when my body deteriorates, the field lives on forever. That's my soul. So
Mm.
now my heart is my truth because the truth of it comes from my soul. That's why I should listen to my heart. But you said a great comment there, listen to the truth, listen to a lie. Like, why do so many people, Cody, why is it so easy to say no? No to, I'm going to grow, I'm going to progress, I'm going to do something different, I'm going to be unique, I'm going to step outside my square, I'm going to leave my comfort zone behind, I'm going to step into a new field. I know that I'm not living my truth. And Cody,
Mm.
we all know we're not living our truth. We all know that. So why is it so easy to say no?
It's familiar. It's one of the shortest words you're ever going to say. And instinctively, your brain and body are going to want to keep you where you are. After all, you've survived everything that's ever happened to you, every substance, every thought, every feeling, everything that was ever supposed to take you out. You're still here. And from a place of safety, which is once again the core of addiction, it is so easy to say no. Now, shifting that comes from not the idea of personal growth, not the curiosity in doing better, not just basic evolution. It's also rooted in fear as well. We've got to sit here and not necessarily look at ourselves, but observe ourselves objectively and go, who is this person? Who does this person believe that they are? What is the commitment and we're going to say force that projects their identity? Why does that make so much sense to them? And why are they defending it? Why are they defending the person they're attempting to evolve past or through? And because of that, because of the unknown, that's scary. That's fear. I talk to people all the time, and I had this conversation yesterday. To take on the identity of a happy person, especially as someone who's been struggling, to embrace the possibilities that you are responsible for your health and happiness, that you are the conduit to all the things that you want, that you're actually allowed to evolve and become someone better. For someone that's struggling in that space, for someone that is so firmly committed to the identity that they've accidentally created for themselves and given into, for them to imagine that is to invoke a sense of fear. That fear, if they break through that, means they have to become and evolve into something they've never experienced before, ever. Their whole identity, the reasons they say no, the reasons they create harm, the reason they harm themselves, the reason they choose that person, the reason they treat their kids that way, the reason they do and don't do must shatter entirely, all because they're willing to embrace happiness, embrace a newer identity. So for someone who's so familiar and has created enough beliefs to firmly plant them in what they know, which is technically all they know, to get them to shift is quite a feat. So it is so naturally simplistic to just say no. I'd rather struggle where I am and stay in a place of familiarity than to evolve into a place I've never been and embody all the responsibility that comes along with that.
And is it possible that survival, and we're hearing this training today, tonight, this morning, your time, to encourage everybody watching to say yes to something new, to say yes to something that they learned when they were with us at the retreat, to say this one thing, this landed with me, like it made so much sense. I was so inspired that morning that I heard, Kohdi speak or Ray speak or Darren speak or Sheila speak or Antonella speak or Vision speak. I was so driven by that it just made so much sense. But here I am living in survival, and even though it makes sense, there's a part of me that allows me to confuse the illusion of my own confusion so that it doesn't make sense, even though I know that it makes sense. And that's called unauthenticity. That's when we become unauthentic. So you mentioned survival. So I wonder then, is survival by virtue of the fact that I've survived so much, and everybody here in this webinar has survived so much, you've actually done so well. Like the fact that a human body, right, can go through a childhood with all its trepidations and its difficulties and its near death experiences and its near accidents and its near fatalities, and a human body is at a young age is so easily brittle and broken, and you make it through that. And then you get into your bed every night and you get into your Tesco or your Walmart sheets, which are cancer emitting sheets, and you get up in the morning into your air conditioned house, filling your stuff with carcinogens, and you soap yourself up with lather that's meant to remove all of the good bacteria from your skin and wash it down the sink to pollute the earth. And then you go out and you breathe your air with aircraft flying overhead, changing the environment because carbon dioxide, we have to reduce it when carbon dioxide is a giver of life. And then we can still come home and survive, and then go through our teenage years and all of the trepidations of our teenage years and the drugs and the alcohol and the girlfriends and the hepatitis and the STDs, and we make it through all of that as well. And then we get into our adult years, and then we've children with the traumas and the jobs and the depression and the anxiety, and we're still here today. So survival of all of that becomes so brilliantly captured in the body that, oh my God, I've survived all my shit. Throw me more shit. So the body just says, I've survived this shit. That's good. Just throw me more shit. And then the heart is saying, no, 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 no. We've learned now. We've suffered enough of our shit. We need to step beyond our shit. But survival creates limitation because it says you survive this, no point in doing any more. And then again, we're completely unauthentic. So, what do we say, Cody? What do you say to people sitting here going, right, look, I've taken something away from this retreat. I was so inspired, and I know that it makes so much sense, but my old body is dragging me back in there. I've got this magnet in my bedroom, and the old me is in there all the time. And every time I walk past my bedroom, or every time I walk past my house, or every time I walk past my car, or every time I walk past my job and walk past my friends, my so-called friends, they're just dragging me back in to say, just keep being you. Stop being somebody new. Don't transcend yourself. Just stay as you are. But I don't want to. What do you say to that person that wants to make that quantum emotional addiction leap away from one addiction to create a new addiction with their happiness rather than be addicted to their sadness?
I absolutely love that. And in my heart of hearts, my first thought, this is if I was to get somewhat brutal and just bring it down to, we're going to say human for 1 second. My first phrase I would say is, if you do nothing, you get nothing. Right? We don't want to just what I call data hoarding. Get involved in the process and do nothing with it. We're going to get our dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins just by listening to us right now. That's right. Oh, I did. I remember I did that. And I had that idea and I didn't follow through with that one, but at least I wrote it down. Oh, I bought a journal and I took a couple notes, but I haven't opened the page. I recorded that session and I took a screenshot, but I haven't looked at it. I got that book and it's still sitting on my table, but I was listening to Ray, and then Cody said this thing. Now we're trapped. We're actually heavily committed to the experience, to the process. We are sitting here thinking one more word, one more webinar, one more video, one more book, one more conversation, one more social interaction. And then I'll have this like centrifugal recurring revelation where I don't actually need to do anything. Unfortunately, we don't wake up a different person until we do different things. I like to share, if you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. we're always going to get what we've always got because we've always done what we've always been doing. This is why it's so easy to take inaction. We all naturally, internally, energetically, cosmically crave and desire evolution, new information. As someone whose heart has stopped, I know what it's like to sit here and go, the only thing I know is pain. The only thing I know is trauma. The only thing I know is survival. The only thing I've become is warrior, if you want to call it that. But that identity, as you mentioned, became my limitation. As a matter of fact, that specific limitation became such a powerful force in the way I chose to live my life when I was unhealthy that I embodied a truth that made everything that I was experiencing, including all my childhood trauma, totally acceptable. I said, I am the chosen one. I am supposed to take on the pains because I know how to struggle. My dad did that. My bullies did that. I did that to myself. My girlfriend did that. My friends and family did that. I'm obviously the person capable of handling these pains. And so I took on the identity of someone that was supposed to do that on behalf of the human race. That was who I believed I was. And so here's what I did. I created more pain. I broke more relationships. I shattered my connection with myself. I disrespected my body. And then what had to happen, this is called a forced reflection, my liver failed. How I feel, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, what I did, what I didn't do, what I could have done, what I should have done doesn't apply anymore. I'm literally dying. And then because the doctors did so much work, I had another opportunity and I had to realize that I can continue running the same codes, doing the same things, getting the same results, still wishing something was different. Or I could attempt out of curiosity to shift my thoughts that empower new feelings. Those feelings reflect into my preferred identity, not who I think I am, not who I've been acting as, not who I thought I became, who I know I am intuitively. Not just a warrior that's willing to survive trauma, but a warrior willing to survive happiness, a warrior willing to fight for what I deserve, even though on paper, I deserve the death, I deserve to be on drugs, I deserve to be in jail. I've been all of those things, yet here I am. This doesn't mean I'm the chosen one. This means I'm choosing me. I choose me. And so many of us don't choose ourselves. We choose to perform. We choose to project what we think we understand. And that level of curiosity is ideally our addiction. So when we're going, okay, I'm ready for evolution, prove it. Do something new. Now, when you have a stack of proof that you do something with what you're learning, that you're not just taking the dopamine hits and putting it on paper, you're not just buying another book, but you are not buying that book because you're too busy executing. You are now proving to yourself and to your soul and to the quantum field that you are ready. That's one of my favorite phrases. And my entire world shifted when I stopped saying want and started saying ready. Instead of exclaiming to the universe, I want more money. Instead of exclaiming to the world and to God, if you want to call it that, that I want more opportunities. I started saying verbally within my own mind and expressing it with my body in meditation, I'm ready for better opportunities. I'm ready to shift. I'm ready for more. And I remember sitting on the couch when I couldn't even use my legs, going, I'm ready. I'm ready for more. I'm ready for this. I don't know what I'm ready for, but I know I am. And then in time, I embraced the state of ready, which is really just a more expressive version of excitement. And then I started to recognize that the quantum was starting to communicate with me. And then I started to recognize the opportunities and communicate differently. And then I started to experience myself objectively as the person I thought I always was. And then in time, I actually became who I always knew I was. As a matter of fact, it was so easy to take a sip and to remove the thoughts and the feelings and the things I didn't like and pretend that I was this person. But when I stopped doing that through force, I had to realize that I can't pretend that I'm authentic. I have to actively prove to myself on a daily basis, sick, tired, dreary, whatever it is, that I am who I know I am, not who I think I am. And in time, your brain and body, they start to communicate with each other, and you don't have to do the work any work because the processes have already been written.
When people realize that it's their body that fights against them, it's their body that's the addicted being, that cellular structure all combined together is the cemented stuck us. So this morning, when I woke up this morning, I know when I do my meditation, I build new realities. I create a new Ray Behan. I become a new person every time I meditate. I take a new idea, I get that idea, I infatuate that idea into my body. My body sticks to that idea, feels the emotion of it, and over time addicts to the idea. Now my body's addicted to my dream. My body's addicted to what I'm thinking about in meditation. And this morning was an example of that. When I woke up this morning, my body said, I ain't doing this. I don't want to get out of bed and meditate. This is really comfortable right here. I want to lie here. And my mind is saying, no, 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 no. I want to do this. I know that I must do this. So, how did I convince my body? I convinced my body by allowing my body to feel the emotion of what I'm losing by staying in bed. The part of the dream that I will never be able to infatuate with, that part of the dream that infatuation will never turn into a reality for me if I stay in bed. So I said to my body, okay, you want to stay in bed? Fine. Here's what I'm going to do to you now. I'm going to let you feel the emotion of what you and I are going to miss out on because you've decided that we're not getting out of bed today. And then I look at that dream in my mind, lying in the bed, wanting to go back to sleep, and lying there and see that thing that I want to create, and know that every time I meditate, I get closer and closer and closer to it. And then I allow my body to feel, okay, now feel what you're going to feel when you don't achieve it. What are you going to say to me then? Oh, I was too lazy to get out of bed. And oh, I was tired that day. Now feel that. And then doing that, then convince my body, I got to do it. I got to meditate. I got to get out of my bed today. I got to meditate. And then you talked also about the chosen one. And it just kind of
Mm.
raised the question for me, Cody. And are we chosen subconsciously, unconsciously by the people who raised us and loved us to keep living out their pain so that they
Mm.
can continue to feel good about their sadness? So that they can continue to feel good about their stuckness, so that they can continue to feel good about their limitation. And even beyond that, don't our parents and guardians and our culture, the culture we're born into, don't they set the boundaries? So they almost subconsciously choose us to be limited, to not get out of bed, to not do our stuff. It's like we're the chosen one to be broken. You're chosen by your culture, that this is your culture, this is what you're born into. So as long as you fit into the culture, you can learn to be happy with your sadness, never really finding the life that you want to live for yourself.
Oof, that one got me good. You being happy with your sadness. 100%. Actually, that reminds me of a song I used to listen to. Um, Happiness seems to be loneliness. And I didn't understand that when I first heard it because this was like 20 years ago. I was in high school. And it was one of my favorite songs. It was a dance track because I was a DJ for 16 years. And I'm like, happiness seems to be loneliness. And then as I've grown, I understand that at the peak of your happiness, there's a micro density of loneliness because you're so happy you want to share it with someone, but you're forced to embody it all on your own. And it's yours, and you have to take responsibility for how good you feel. And it's a different type of practice of allowing the happiness that you've worked for to sit and recode your body. That's powerful, and I love that. Thank you for that phrase. Moving forward into being chosen, one of the most recent perspectives, if you want to call it that, is if there's a collective consciousness, then there must be a collective subconscious too. The collective subconscious is basically what you were just referring to in regards to culture and society in general. Most people on earth as far as I know, um, aren't very good at allowing happiness. They're not well versed in the state of peace. And because they have no real or very minimal focal points or points of reference of what true happiness, true health, true peace, true gratitude, true abundance actually is, they once again just kind of fit their form to those around them. And you mentioned earlier, your energetic field can impact the people around you. I believe it's up to 9 feet. And now we're learning that vibrationally speaking, saying, the tongue vibrates, and we can feel that up to 3 feet. So we're projecting into the ether. Whether we are aware of where this is coming from or whether we're an active participant in our own identity, we are still in the state of projection. And so many of us that refuse or are afraid or are not encouraged or don't feel safe enough to grow are going to continue to reflect and project the only thing they do know, which is going to be the embodiment of trauma, that the idea of growth via pain, such as I'm going to hurt you for your own good. I love you. I hurt you the worst because I love you the most. They don't necessarily do any other work because that would contradict who they think they are, who they know themselves to be. And so once again, that's kind of the domino effect of the human experience and more importantly the spiritual experience because that's impacted by the human and kind of embrace, I don't want to say the negativity, but the passing down of the energetics. Now I know the people that hurt me the worst needed the most amount of love. And as someone that is full of love, not someone who created it, not somebody who just knows it, someone who was built from it and understands it, embodies it, and shares it. I have love for that person. I may not like them. I don't need to be their friend. I don't necessarily even respect them, but I have love for them. I know that a majority of what they've done and what society is doing is from a place of fear and survival, masked under the illusion of love. I can't even tell you how many people I've met, how many people that run the circles in my life now that are just harsh and rude and mean and disconnected, and they call that life. They call that okay. They're never going to change. They're never going to shift. They're never going to practice. To do that once again would be stepping into a place of fear. So what we can expect is the things that we can prepare for. And one of my favorite things is going, thank you for being exactly who you are. I love that you're not going to change because you're predictable. I love that we could prepare for that. I love that I have the energetic boundaries to not just protect myself, but prevent myself from having to survive. I don't have to survive you anymore because I don't give you the power. And then moving forward from that, what that does is what you mentioned this morning, Ray, was discipline. And that's exactly what I activated today as well. Because trust me, it's 6 a.m. I've been up since 4, right? Trust me, I gave myself a few extra minutes, 15 minutes. What am I going to say? What am I going to think? What's going to happen? I don't know. What are we going to do? Who's going to be there? I don't know. I'm allowing my brain to step into a state of curiosity and excitement. But the difference is I'm focusing on the capabilities and the possibilities. I know that I'm committed to showing up for you, Ray, for everybody here, for everyone in Italy, for everyone in Greece. The way I commit to drinking my water is the same way I commit to taking my nutrition. The same discipline I have for showing up for myself in the gym, the same discipline I have to get up, not because I have to, but because my readiness is so on point all the time that level, that energy, the curiosity, the excitement, the desire is what literally pulls me out of bed, especially when I don't want to. especially when it's most cozy. It's 33 degrees and my feet are cold today, Ray. I'm getting up. It's happening. I'm doing it, not because I have to, but because it's who I am. Why would I show up for myself in all other aspects of my life, but not show up for me at 5 a.m. in the morning? That's bananas. That would contradict who I know I actually am.
And just for clarity, 33 degrees is Fahrenheit, by the way. So you're talking like, 2 or 3 Celsius. Guys over here, it's a different. When you said 33 degrees, they're going, oh my God, you should be in your Speedos down the beach, swimming, and so on. Look, I'm happy. I'm happy. I can't say I'm unhappy. I'm happy. Like,
Right?
why should I do more? I'm just really happy. But I heard a great saying, Cody, and it
Mm,
really landed with me. And it was only a while ago I heard this saying, and I'll share it with you, right?
mm,
And it was somebody being asked, what is hell? And they said, my description of hell is this. The day will come where it's going to be heading towards my last day. And it's in my last days that I'm going to reflect on all my previous days. And when I reflect on my previous days, the greater version of me is going to meet me in my last days, saying to me,
mm.
this is who you could have been. This is what you could have done. This is
Yeah.
where you could have got out of bed that day. One extra day getting out of bed could have made that difference. I am a representation of who you could have been. Now look at you and who you allowed yourself to stay. And
Mm,
now you have to die. And that's hell. And I went, that is a big, big message. So anybody watching here now and in this webinar with us, take that picture every day that you get out of your bed every day when your body's rejecting the things that you know that you want it to do. And think about who you can be by not listening to your body and not listening to your lie and listening to your truth and stepping into the person that you want to be. And notice every single time you fight your body, you evolve, you grow, you iterate, you upgrade yourself. You upgrade every single time that you win that fight, every single time that you win that battle. You become that new, brilliant you. So, Cody, the message then is to go to bed at night time with a pact and to tell your body that when we wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to go into that battle again.
mm,
And when we go into that battle, we're going to decide, I'm going to make a decision on where we're going to go. I can see this vision. I can see my future. I can see where I want to take you. And you argue with your body before you go to sleep at nighttime, and you tell your body you can't see the dream. The body has not got an epistemic access to the future. All it can ever relate to is the past, how it's ever felt in the past. It doesn't
mm,
know there's a new tomorrow. All it knows it's familiar. It's the certain brain. It's the left brain of certainty,
mm,
and it's saying, and you're diving into your bed at nighttime with your covenant, with your declaration, your little holy grail, and you're saying to your body, tomorrow morning we're going to go into that battle again, and I'm going to keep winning that battle. And every time you do, you evolve. So yes, I'm happy. I'm happy in my life. You're happy watching this podcast. You're happy in your life. But the point about it is, you and I, we don't know each other. But you and I know there's more life. You know there's
yeah.
more out there. You can never deny the fact that there is a field of absolute infinite potential of everything that you want to be, and you are that always that one step away from it. But it depends on before you get your toe on that carpet, on that ground in the morning. What the most important decision that you will make is this. Today, will I give in to my body? Will I argue with my body? And will I
Mm,
beat my body? And if you do, then you evolve, you grow, you go to places that are beyond your imagination because your imagination is limited by your civilization, by your culture, by how you were born, what you were told, the messages you were fed, the things that you were lied to about, the limitations that you embedded into your psyche, into your mind, into your body are all lies. And we know this, Cody. We know that we live this massive, massive lie. And then before you get out of your bed, if your body is still winning the fight, say to your body, When we get to the last day, and I say to you, you were so wrong. Ask your buddy, what are you going to say to me then? And it won't have an answer. And now you've won that battle. Now you evolve. Now you grow. Now, Cody, I know you're coming to evolve in Sardinia with us as one of our guest speakers, and you've got a full day presentation, which I saw you do in Italy, and it was very astounding. It was very astounding, very impacting. So you're going to bring content to Sardinia to all of our Sardinia clients. Is that right?
For lack of better words.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. And
Absolutely.
great. And also, Cody, I do know that we have another very, very big name speaker that we're going to bring along as well. So our Evolve clients are in for quite a ride. Now, Thierry, you're there, and I just bring you in, Thierry, for a moment. I'll just get you to say hi, Thierry, to Cody again. In Thierry, you just got to go off that little. There you are, and you're on mute as well, Thierry. Hey, Thierry, how you doing, my buddy?
Hey, hi Cody. Oh my God, bro. That was next level. And if
Thank,
that's just 1 hour, I can only imagine what you can offer our people at Sardinia for a day.
thank you.
Wow,
Thank you.
bro. That was
I really-
inspiring.
I
Now,
appreciate you.
I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just kind of feeling left out because I actually wanted to say bro earlier, but I'm Irish. We don't do bro. We can't do. I can't go into a pub and say, "Can I have a pint of Guinness, bro?" He'll look at me and go, sorry, what where's your what plane did you just get off there?" But I'll say it here, so if that's okay.
Hey,
And
just
man,
roll
you
up
guys
with
are
me.
saying
You'll be
man.
good. You'll be good.
I want to say man. I want to do bro. I want to do man. I want to do all that stuff. Thierry. The news is this. So the first tranche of Evolve is sold out. It's done. Sardinia. That's why we ran two Evolves this year. It's already actually done. Sold, done, dusted. I know Antonella is negotiating now at the retreat for more rooms for more clients. So I know that that's happening. Her and Virginia were on negotiating that last night. Now the people booked in, and we'll find more rooms. Now we'll do that. We just got to convince the venue to release them because where we're going is quite a place. Thierry, the people who are already have done their commitment, you're going to be calling them next week, and to
Yeah,
make
that's
sure
right.
that we secure those seats. And if we don't, we'll fill them very quickly. But when you call them next week, what are you going to be talking to them about?
All right, so guys, firstly, I got to say, as Cody said, are we ready? Are we ready
Mm.
to change? Are we ready to choose happiness? Because that was 45 minutes actually of our good friend Cody speaking there, and I can only imagine a day. Okay, so those of you that have actually made that investment commitment to secure your seat, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be reaching out to you guys because we're only doing the one evolve in 26. So we're going to try and open some more spots, but we're only doing the one evolve. We're not doing two for 26. So I'm going to make sure that you don't miss out and we secure your seats. I'll be giving you a call and we'll sort out a payment plan to just help you secure that seat. Okay, so just what I'll do if I reach out to you and I call you and you miss the call, I'll tell you on the message that I leave. Just send me a text message of the available time that you want me to contact you, and I will reach out to you at that time. Either way, we'll get together and we'll secure this seat for you guys.
Yeah, and look, I can tell you where this one's going as well. And I'm very excited for everybody in this webinar, by the way, because everybody in this webinar, I know every one of you. Cody only met half of you. And he didn't meet the good half. He didn't meet the bad half. He just met the half. But Cody, this some of the people that were in Greece, oh my
Mm.
God, they're so just as amazing as the people that you met in Italy. And you'll get to meet them now when we get to Sardinia in Italy next year. And, I spoke about it on the weekend at the 4 day. We had a 4 day unthinkable workshop. I've just finished a 4 day workshop. It was really, it was so wow. And people at the workshop, they've enrolled now into Sardinia. So that's why it's the first half is full. It's full. It's done. They've enrolled in Sardinia, but it's a year away. And some people were saying, "Oh, it's a year away." But just think about it. A year away. So your body has 1 year to wake up every day thinking, remembering, dreaming, living in hope, knowing I'm going there in a year. That's a year of inspiration, not a year of desperation. If we were having it in 2 months' time, this time next year it's all over. But you're not. You got a year to let your body sit there and stew and wait and know we're going down this road together. Now your body's kind of starting to work on your side. Now you're working together. So I think it's such a beautiful thing that it's a year away because really you get your body to wake up every day and light and shine and light and shine. How brilliant will you feel when you get there? So, Thierry, I'll leave it up to you then. Make sure that you don't miss your call from Thierry, and then he'll make sure that your place is in, done, secured. Now, we got a lot of people in here from both of the retreats. If any of you haven't got a seat and want a seat, you can get a seat, but you have to go to Shayla for your seat, not Thierry. Shayla is the one that will give you your seat and you just communicate with her. And I'll just remind you again, there is a bank loan facility. I think it's like 80 bucks a week or 90 bucks a week. Like it's just a no-brainer. And that's Australian, by the way. In the US, it's like 22 cents. The Australian dollar is very weak. That's in Australian. So it's an absolute no-brainer. And I just leave you with this one thing. I promise you this. Every year we do evolve, it gets bigger and bigger and better and better. And next year, it is going to illuminate, absolutely illuminate. We're rewriting it, we're putting new things in. If you haven't seen Kohdi and some of the other people we've been bringing out, I'm telling you, you'll come away and you'll go, wow, what was that all about? So communicate with Shayla. Send an email to her, Shayla at thinkandgroweducation.com.au, and she'll call you about your seat. Kohdi, can I leave you just close out for the last minute?
Absolutely. There's so much magic. First off, I want to say thank you so incredibly much, not just for today, but for, inviting me to evolve. Along the same lines of what you were just mentioning, we've got a year, right? What's crazy is it took my entire life to get to evolve, which was just bananas. How many years was I an active participant in my future, in my designing? Only a few years. And what I mean by that is the active state of knowingness, knowing it's for me. In the beginning, I had to convince myself that I deserve to be on stage, that I deserve to walk next to amazing humans like you, Ray, and Thierry, and Shayla, and Antonella, and meet all the incredible, absolutely incredible human beings that evolve. When I showed up, wasn't nervous from this space of, oh my God, this is something new. No, you are all something I've always known. I have been stepping into that space of knowingness for years and years and years. And I became someone capable of recognizing the opportunity and seizing it. This is why I'm always saying yes. Always saying yes. It's a yes until I make it a no. Do you want to do this? Absolutely. Is it exciting? Possibly. Are you a little bit scared? For sure. But it's not a no. Let's go. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it again. Do it one more time. And then eventually what you start to realize is you are actually being pulled, whether you want to or not. Everything is aligning, even on your worst day. You are not less worthy. You are not digressing. You are not moving backwards. You are evolving with familiar networks that are trying to keep you stuck. But it's in the yes. As a matter of fact, I created a company once called One Yes. In an ocean of no, all it takes is one yes. I became the one yes. You are the one yes that's necessary to not just impact and transform and evolve your own life, but to transform the lives around you simply by proximity, simply by you showing up. And if you ever want to underestimate the power that you have, I remember you. I remember our conversations. I remember how I felt when we spoke, when we were in the same room, when we were sharing those tears and those laughs and those hugs. I'll never forget you. My life is better because we met. That's even as you feel you are right now. Even where you are, you've directly impacted me, which has directly impacted my partner, which has directly impacted the kids and directly impacted the school. If you think you don't matter, we're here to help you understand the density of how untrue that actually is. So I say this, be the one, yes. I promise you, the worst thing that's going to happen is a better life.
Kohdi Rain, founder of Beyond Sober and our latest sensation for the Evolve Retreats. Thank you for being with us today. And we look forward to seeing you at the next time that we chat, and we'll come out with some more gems and more jewels. Thierry, thank you for your dedication and the great work that you do and the long hours that you put in and the hard work that you go through to make all these things happen in the background, and your commitment and, you know, the energy that you put into us as well, and the fire that you put in my belly every day. Thierry, thank you for that.